Hello, Raj here. Welcome back to the Byzantine project. So I've got all the infantry assembled. As you can see here, I've let this get a little out of hand, as I am wont to do. So if you play Saga, you know that there is way too many infantry models here. So I ended up not really thinking too hard about what I was actually going to use. So right here we've got 6 or 7 points of Saga troops, and I haven't even started the cavalry yet, which is where your Hearth Guard is in the Byzantine forces. And you can see that a lot of green stuff work has gone into these guys. Again, something I really didn't realize I was getting in for here. But so if you recall from my first video, I'm looking to assemble a force that can straddle the time periods between the early Dark Ages towards the medieval. So although you could use these Romans straight up as Byzantines, I wanted a style that would be more reminiscent of their look in the later periods. So I've gone through on every single one of the Roman models, and I just built them all. Green stuff over the little circular bits, and then I've used different heads for them, and some of them have green stuff helmets, and these are helmets from the Gripping Beast Viking plastics. Some of the Saxons, not really into the Dark Age warrior box because those guys don't have helmets, and then also the War Games Factory guys, which they have the Phrygian caps, and I kind of ground those down in green stuff, some nice pointy conical Byzantine looking helmets on them. And then I went back and also around the helmets added a little bit of canvas or what have you. Sometimes it's chainmail on different models. So these guys are properly Byzantined up, and it was quite a slog getting through all of these guys here, but they are now complete. They're based, and I think they're looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited about them. And then you can see I've also done up a unit of Levy, which would be the Gripping Beast Dark Age Warrior box set. So these guys are looking a little crappier in comparison to the Roman guys, because they're little Levy dudes, so they don't mind being a little crappier. And I did the same thing with the helmets, and used some of the War Games Factory spears to kind of fill out the javelins. So overall, feeling pretty good about these guys. And I will have a video coming up here that specifically dives in on the green stuff work that I did. It's not really that complicated, but it's just a little quick video showing exactly what I did to achieve the look on these particular guys. So the next step, you might see they don't have any shields. So this was part of my pending Gripping Beast order, which took a while to get here. UPS kind of mucked some stuff up, but Gripping Beast came through with the shields and everything that I needed for these guys. And then I think I might have mentioned in another video, they gave me some extra goodies to give away in an upcoming contest, so that's cool of them. We'll stay tuned for that. And so I went for the large teardrop shields, and then I'm going to use these little big men shield transfers. And never used these transfers before, but I've seen some amazing results on other folks' armies, so I think it's really cool, and should save me quite a chunk of time on the freehand, absolutely. And then the Dark Age guys, they're going to get some bucklers, and then I have the corresponding transfers for the bucklers. So that should round them out. I'm actually going to paint them without the shields and the bucklers, and then I'm just going to do a big batch of all the shields, and then I'll glue it all on to finish it off. So up next, actually, I'm not going to be painting these guys yet. I'm going to jump to the cavalry, which I've got a Gripping Beast, some metal Hearth Guard, Byzantine cavalry, 2 points of that, so 8 guys. I've got a warlord that I use from them, putting him together, and then I'm going to have 8 step tribes. So that's another point. So it's going to be like, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 points when all is said and done. Maybe I could sneak a priest in there somewhere. That's another point. I haven't even thought about that, actually. Should think about that. Note to self. But that is going to be the next step here. So, and actually I'm going to do something I've never done before with those guys, which is to paint the horses separately. So the assembly work is basically just get the horses together, get them on their bases. Haven't decided what bases I'm going to use. I like round bases, but in Saga, if they're coming from the flank on the cav, the round bases kind of hurt you a little bit. But so I might go with 32 mil bases if I can squeeze the horses on there. Otherwise, maybe 40 mil rounds. It's kind of big, but I like how it looks. I just don't like the ovals for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. But there's that little gameplay aspect, which is holding me back from fully going in on those. So I'm just going to get the horses assembled, based. I'm going to put the riders, I guess, assemble those separately. I'm not sure how I'm going to put them on little sticks or something like that. If you regularly do that, let me know what you actually use to stick the riders on. If you just jam like a pole up their butthole, or what the actual procedure there. I would love to know the best way to do that. So more assembly work, and then I'm going to be able to hopefully play some games before they're painted, maybe. Just going to have the horses, I guess, on the battlefield representing the cav. But we'll see. I haven't been getting too many games in lately, so I might just jump to painted. So the idea then is I can airbrush and everything separately. So I can airbrush the horses, finish those. Might do a dip as well. And then I'll be able to airbrush all the guys at once. So normally, instead of assembling everything, I think it's better to assemble things a little bit at the time. But if you're using the airbrush, which this is going to be my first big airbrush project, I think the time savings you're going to get comes in a huge row of guys and just burning through all of them. So they should have a pretty cohesive look. Not totally sure how I'm going to paint these guys yet, but I'm going to incorporate some of the colors from those shields that we saw, and then I'm thinking they might mostly be white. I did a little bit of research. Some folks were kind enough to give me some links and resources and PDFs describing some of the Byzantine stuff. So I know the earlier Byzantines had incorporated a lot of white into their uniforms in kind of the early Dark Ages. They wore a lot of white, and then I might just do the trim and those various colors for the shields. But getting a little bit ahead of myself, but that I'm thinking is the general idea. If you have any feedback on that, let me know. Otherwise, the next update will hopefully see the cavalry all assembled, at least the horses and the riders ready to go, ready to get to that paint level. And looking forward to that update. Hopefully it doesn't take quite as long as this one. I had a few real life things jumping in here, working on a certification for work, stuff like that. So I'm doing a little studying on the side. But thanks for following along with me on my Eastern Romans project, and I'm going to see you again at the next update.